should probably talk to his wife, at least at some point. Whether he does it right after he spends the money or before he spends the money.
Every case has got its own challenges or circumstances to go, that's gonna work for one couple, but it ain't gonna work for another.
All right, good morning, gentlemen. Here's our scenario. We got two letters. One from a guy who says he has saved up $5,000 to start a business.
Yeah.
And he pitched it to his wife. She thinks it's a horrible idea. She doesn't think he has enough experience to be successful at it.
Yeah.
He didn't even say what the business was.
Right.
But he got $5,000. She says he's too lazy. He doesn't have the work ethic to be in business for himself. And
I guess the bigger question, how do you handle a spouse who's not on the same page, right?
yeah. So there's another one.
Oh, go ahead. I think a brother said maybe 5,000 towards marriage counseling.
5,000.
Or we can get away. Half of it, yeah.
Might be better spent.
No, I'm kidding. That was good.
Yeah, this is maybe him starting a business is marriage counseling, right? At least it's a test of the marriage.
Right, yeah.
Right.
For sure.
Okay, another letter. This is from a woman who went ahead and spent the money. She designed a product, sourced it from China, started importing it, created an e-commerce store. She's using meta ads to drive traffic to her e-commerce page, and she is selling product. She hasn't covered her costs yet. In fact, her advertising costs right now are a little bit higher than the profit margin she's making on the product, but she thinks in a month or two she'll be cash flow positive. No salary or anything. She's just straight up burning cash. And her husband, super negative on the whole thing. She's not charging enough. She doesn't know how to do ads. It's not a good product. She shouldn't have done it. Waste of money.
Yeah.
Similar situation, except this woman obviously is not lazy.
Yeah.
She's got a very high agency. She went out and did it.
Right.
And she's in the grind phase. She's losing money. I mean, not too many businesses don't lose money before they make money.
Right.
But he's not feeling it. And she's not getting any support from him.
Right.
He wants her to shut it down. And now that he's been so adamant that this thing is gonna fail, he would love it to fail.
Yeah, sure.
Because
Rooting against
him,
her.
right?
Actively, right.
All right, so Irving, single guy. Not single, but hopefully soon to be engaged. What do you think? You're starting out, you're making money, but you're starting out. What's your fiance say about your business? If we can dive into your old marriage counseling. This is premarital counseling.
She's super supportive, even though we're not married. She's definitely taken on some, like, not burden, but almost burden of just like me having to be so risky and being able to make aggressive moves because I'm young and I can. And I don't have a stable job. We don't have every weekend off. There's things like that.
Yeah.
But she wasn't supportive. Like, we're not even married, and I can tell my life would be.
Yeah, she's on board.
Yeah, it'd be nearly impossible if she wasn't on board.
Yeah.
And
They have to take a phone call.
At dinners. Like,
she gets it.
for the first year, I was working every waking hour.
Right.
So, if she wasn't supportive, couldn't imagine how hard this would be.
Yeah.
If we were married, it would be nearly impossible.
Right.
Yeah, all right, so Riley.
I think a big thing is obviously communication. And if Mr. $5,000 to invest, she thinks he's lazy, there's probably something behind it. Where maybe this isn't the first $5,000 he spent.
Oh, yeah.
And the first $5,000 he's lost, or maybe it's been more or less. But the main thing is communicating with your significant other, and if, her Chinese imports and she's down, for the past 3 months, if she sees something ahead and she's tracked her numbers well, I mean, the main thing for her is making sure she can show her husband, hey, look, this is what this looks like now.
Right.
if I can show improvement, you know, if next month we're here and I'm, you know, only down a couple $100 instead of a couple thousand, then, you know, I'm improving, and this is going to be a good business here in 2 to 3 months, and we can have some money in our pocket. But if the husband's in the unknown and he's like, we've just been hemorrhaging cash, then it's understandable that he's going, shut this down, what's happening? So just being able to communicate with your significant other, including when they're involved in the finances part of it. So they know, hey, you know, 2 or 3 months from now, we're going to be good, but if they don't know anything, then they're probably going, oh crap. Yeah.
Good answer.
Yeah, I think the guy that's got $5 grand hasn't started and now knows his wife isn't on board is in a better situation than the wife that's already started and is finding out the husband isn't on board, for the mere fact that getting that figured out up front is going to allow you to actually understand where you can go with the idea with the business. So a guy with $5 grand, he can say, okay, we obviously are on the same page here. I can figure out how to get on the same page with you, or I can just go do what I want and make you mad. Right? So he's got a decision to make there. Whereas with the wife who's already started, obviously we don't know what communication was like prior, but she's already neck deep in this thing. And now her husband's like, this isn't working. You need to make money. And she either cuts her losses or she essentially presses on without his approval and hopes that it works. So I think there's a lot to be said with getting that figured out on the front end. Right. Kind of like what Irving was saying. Are you saying that he shouldn't do it because she's not on board?
No, I think he shouldn't do it until they have come to some sort of agreement on what it looks like.
And if that agreement involves her moving back in with her mother?
I mean, I guess that's the resolution.
Good answer.
Okay, what do you think, Brian? Woman doesn't see the big picture.
Yeah,
Husband doesn't see the big picture.
Wait, Irving and I were talking about that earlier. You know, when you got, my wife does not want anything to do with the business, never has.
Yeah.
Where others, but she's supportive, right? You know, from the beginning, I was making no money, left my job to start the company, had 9 months worth of savings, and it got really tight in month 8. And, but she was supportive the whole time. And sort of came from an entrepreneur family. Her dad had his own business. So her mindset was, she's familiar with dad staying late, getting up early, working weekends, those kind of things.
Yeah.
And then there's other spouses who are significant others who are, I'm the accountant. I'm the sales, lead. I'm gonna be the front secretary every day,
Yeah.
So you have that wide range, and it's, sometimes, what's your bent? Are you a couple that has a natural tendency to be conservative and, salaries are what you've known all your life? And it's really scary to have that stretch of taking the $5,000, taking the $10,000, and are leaving the job. So every case has got its own challenges or circumstances to go, that's gonna work for one couple, but it ain't gonna work for another.
Yeah.
And totally down with, hey, let's sit down. That was good advice from Riles and Nate, saying, hey, here's sort of what I see. Here's a game plan. Honey, we got 9 months worth of money set aside. If this doesn't work, then here's the out. But here's where we're in. And it probably did me well too, because we could talk through it. She helped me walk through, oh crap,
Yeah.
we're gonna not go to Target as often. Okay, I get it. No vacations this summer with kids. Okay, I get it.
Yep.
So that communication's key, so you both know there is an end game to, after 5,000, that's it, babe. Or if China gets hit with all these
Tariffs,
these tariffs,
104%.
then I see the squeeze and I'm out,
Yeah. he was going to kill the businesses that last 4%.
Yes.
100% tariff every time. But 104. Oh, no. It's dead. Yeah, we don't know what's going to happen to her business with the tariff, but
Do you know super successful business people that their wife is not, or their spouse is not on board?
okay, so 8 years ago, I secretly spent $50 to start my business. I had to keep it a secret from my wife because she'd been mad.
She's finding out now.
She's doing my on this podcast.
She doesn't. She started 3 months later.
So, 8 years later, my business makes $50 about every 90 seconds, 24/7, 365. And last night, I told my wife, I said, one of our neighbors wants to sell his house. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna buy this house. And she says, you just wanna buy that house so you can buy a Aston Martin and park it in that garage. You don't even need the house. I said, that's true. I said, but it's a 2-car garage, so I'm also gonna need a McLaren. And she says, that's just a waste. And she says, this is not just your money, this is our money. And this is, to me, it came out as funny, right? Because she wouldn't want me to spend the 50, and now it's her money. And I remember when we first started up, I was doing all this work and not spending a ton, but losing money.
Yep.
And she said, how is this ever gonna be a business? I remember her saying that. And I was like, okay, this is great. It really is, because I mean, there's a spiritual reason and then there's a market reason. And the spiritual reason is, if everybody's telling you you're doing a great job, then God doesn't have to tell you that. So I think it's great, even when the people closest to you oppose you, just like Jesus. He said, a prophet's not known in his own town. So part of the crucible of being an entrepreneur is surviving discouragement from even your closest friends, who, even if they're trying to encourage you, they kind of sound patronizing about it. They'll be like, oh, Irving, that's a good idea, right? In other words, they think it's a horrible idea. And then there's a market reason. Like, we need, as entrepreneurs, really clear signals of what the market is telling us, so we can make adjustments. And if we can get our validation from our friends and our wife and our kids and our grandparents, then we don't have to listen to the market. The market can just be wrong. You'd be like, yeah, I don't know why people don't understand how clever my business is. My dad says it's a great idea. And there's only one validation that an entrepreneur should ever listen to, and that's the customer. And you say, oh no, God will speak through customers. He's not gonna talk to your wife necessarily. You gotta survive that discouragement. And the guy with the $5,400 or $5,000 saved up, whatever, I mean, I don't know what he has to do. What I did in his situation is I didn't tell her. I don't know if that's good advice or bad advice, but I just kept it a secret. And what I was doing up in the spare room, she had no idea. And as soon as, don't cut that clip. Okay. As soon as I went to hire an assistant, then she was mad. She's like, you're not wasting more money hiring somebody, no way. And I showed her the numbers and she's like, all right, don't you ever ask for a second person though. And then by the time I hired a second person, I was on to hiring like 6 or 7, and she was one of them. And she's been supportive in her way, which is to say that she organizes everything. If it wasn't for her, business wouldn't have made it, no question about it. But not because she was encouraging. Never encouraging.
Well,
and that's okay.
There's a difference between encouragement and supportive though.
Oh, totally, yeah.
So she's absolutely behind you 100%. You can do whatever. I'm your wife.
Yeah.
I'm called to be there no matter what, even if you make stupid decisions.
Yeah.
But she still can be challenging you to say, that's a stupid idea. I disagree.
Yeah.
And still be on your team.
So going back, you wouldn't have told her about the $50.
I just literally remember 8 years later, the moment thinking, should I do this or shouldn't I, was not the question. It was, should I tell Kana or should I not? I knew I was gonna do it. I just didn't know.
And going back, you wouldn't tell her.
You don't think she would have been on your, you don't think she would have been okay with $50?
Well, there's more backstory. I lost a business 7 years before.
Right.
Lost everything. And in the 7 years since I last had a successful business, I had started and closed 7 other businesses.
Okay.
Every one was a failure.
Necessary backstory.
Yeah, but and now we know why you think you failed. There you go. When
You can speak to the guy saying $5,000.
yeah, now that's the thing is I didn't spend $5,000 on any of those 7 ideas.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I spent a few $100s on each
It
idea.
sounds like he's
Okay.
probably been denied by his wife a few times or a few businesses.
I see what you're saying. There's not enough backstory.
Yeah, there's not enough backstory for why his wife is saying all this stuff. So he may be yours was 50, his is 5,000. Yeah. But his backstory of, hey, your input may be, hey, keep trying. Something may, I don't know, whatever you would say to him. Well,
Okay. So what happened to Thomas Edison? Had been married to this woman that said, hey, you failed too many times, you can't do it again. Or Elon Musk that made a ton of money in PayPal but then lost it all on a bad bet. Like, it's like, somehow you've got to just be like, if you're getting market signals, you gotta be refusing to quit, or you'll never find out what the market's telling you. And I don't know, like, I just don't think, I think we make this mistake at C12. People will have a new business idea. What do you think, guys? And we sit there, some of us say, oh, it's a great idea. Some of us say, oh, no, that won't work. Here's why. Yeah. And our opinions are totally irrelevant. Like, let the market speak. We don't know. So the $50 start of the business was not a business doing what I do now. It was actually a cold calling business. And the reason I needed the $50 is because my cell phone wouldn't call Switzerland. I literally got hired to do cold calls into Switzerland, which is the dumbest idea in the world that would ever work. But I had to go to the App Store and buy a calling app so that I could make European calls. And that job paid me $5. So I managed to turn $50 into $5, and I knew that going into it. That was like the best that could happen.
Sure.
But that I got a single 5-star review out of it was more valuable than the $45 I lost.
Absolutely.
Or the 20 hours it took to do the job.
Yeah.
But that was the launch. And he gave me a 5-star review. So it's a strange thing. I remember that window, like that first month, as I was ramping up to get my first 10 5-star reviews, which I think is really critical to get those initial 5-star reviews.
Yeah. I
remember knowing that every job I did for $5 was absolutely not worth the time that I was spending, but I never doubted it. I never one time thought, yeah, probably this isn't gonna work out. Someone's gonna leave me a 1-star and then I'm gonna be back to 0. I just didn't, not one second did I not say, okay, I will get to 10 5-star reviews. I then will put market pricing on my services. And then, like, it wasn't even a question in my mind. But at the same time, I had to pivot like 4 or 5 times in the first 6 months to where in the end, what I ended up doing was not what I started out to do.
Yeah.
And so it's weird, like you're willing to be steered, but not stopped.
Yeah.
And that means your wife, I just don't know if she should steer you or stop you.
Yeah.
And, you know, we all know who we're married to.
Yeah.
But I think your wife was being, I don't know what you call it. What did we say? Encouraging, supportive?
Encouraging, but not, or supportive, but not encouraging.
Yeah, so his wife was encouraging, but didn't actually do the work.
Yeah.
Kana was absolutely discouraging, but in the end, did a lot of the work. In
Yeah.
fact, she works twice as hard as I do,
Yeah.
maybe 5 times harder than I do. And so, yeah, support versus encouragement. But some of our brothers get neither.
Yeah.
Like, she thinks it's a horrible idea, and
Yeah.
and I don't know what that necessarily comes from. I think, well, we can't name names, but we do know who we're talking about. Like, there's some guys who's, they're at work and they're a hero at work and legitimately successful in business. And they get home and nothing they can say is right, nothing they can do is right.
Right.
And it's like, I don't know if that's insecurity or what, but I fortunately don't have to deal with that. I think my wife's discouragement only comes around when she hears that I want to buy a new car. She tries to slow me down. All right, so that's a wrap. Anybody got more advice for this guy with the 5,000? What do you say, Irving? Does he start the business, or does he spend the money on marriage counseling?
we're entrepreneurs, so it's hard to say, don't go spend it on trying, you know?
Yeah.
Maybe
It's $5,000. Like you look back and you'll
You
miss
gotta-
the 5,000.
Yeah,
You'll miss the
got it.
5,000, or you'll miss the opportunity. Like I think
Right.
you'll miss the opportunity every single day. Every single day you don't do it.
You know, that's interesting. Some people can't lose 5,000 and not regret it. There are guys like that.
Yeah, true.
That are like, yeah, I just think if you can't bet it all and lose it, entrepreneurship's not for you to begin with. Like you've got to be ready. It can't be something like 8 years later you can say, oh yeah, I lost $5,000. And you can probably tell if you listen to somebody talk to you and they tell you about some stock tip they got that turned out to not work. And it's like, when was that? Oh, that was in 2008.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, you're probably not an entrepreneur.
Right.
You gotta, throwing good money after bad is,
Oh man.
Yeah, right?
is just a part
Gotta
of
have
the life, right? All right, Nathan, what do you say? What's he gonna do? Spend it secretly? Tell her, hey, I'm gonna spend it no matter what? Or just say, honey, you're right, I'm lazy. Let's go on a cruise with our $5,000.
Man.
Let's get the drinks packaged.
Well, I agree with Irving that he's going to regret the decision not to take the chance that he believes in, but maybe he does it in a way that his wife is on board, whether that's starting smaller or giving it more time before he jumps in to get her on the same page.
Okay.
He should probably talk to his wife, at least at some point. Whether he does it right after he spends the money or before he spends the money, I think.
Yeah, you just spend the money then have it go.
$5,000, it's depending on your bank account, is probably a lot of money.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Right.
depending on the weight of the amount in your bank account, you should probably tell your wife before if it's heavy.
Yeah.
If it's a little bit lighter and maybe she won't miss it for a couple weeks, then you can spend it now. But I would probably go.
Can you
with
imagine
communication.
if she's the breadwinner in the family too?
And if
been
she's
working
making
her
all
butt
the
off.
money and it's her money, or
Yeah.
your money together, but coming from her, it's going to hurt a lot more.
Heck yeah.
Whereas
Yeah.
if you earn this from some other job,
Yeah.
so I think those factors weigh in. But I would side on the part of telling her.
Yeah.
He only says that because he thinks his wife is gonna watch this podcast. He's lying. He'd spend it. Oh my goodness.
I'm on your team, babe. I'm on your team.
Okay, so just to be clear, if the only thing I have to do to become a multi-millionaire is to tick off my wife one good time, then I'm just not willing to do it.
80% of businesses fail, or whatever, 90%, 99%.
Yeah.
Then the key is just to start 10 of them.
Probably 0.5% become multi-million dollar businesses. Now
Yeah. That's
you
good
got a
point.
99.999% chance that your wife is mad at you at the end of this. And a 0.001% she's happy with
I
you.
like those odds.
Okay,
Keep saying there's a chance.
So if you're like that, then go ahead and spend the money. But if you like your marriage and you like being married, probably tell her first.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Fair,
listen,
very
this
fair.
0.001 is not worth it. Listen, this isn't cliff diving where if it goes badly, you die. It's $5,000. Okay, it's just $5,000. Like, move on. The guy, in order to have $5,000, he had to have some earning power. He can't be as completely
fair.
useless as the wife is saying.
Unless she's the one earning the money.
Well, then he has earning power by marrying the right woman.
Yeah.
So give him a prize.
Smart guy.
Oh my goodness.
Listen, again, it doesn't matter. He's gonna have to move on from this one because I bought some Lucent stock in 1998 because a daughter of an executive there was told their stock was splitting. And it did split right down to nothing. It went down, and I lost maybe 10 grand on that. And in the last month, my wife has reminded me of my Lucent stock.
Oh my
fiasco.
goodness.
Really?
So it's
A long memory.
she's got a great
got a good
memory.
one.
You're gonna just have to deal with a lack of validation from everyone in the universe except your customer. Like, take it as like a positive. When somebody says, hey, it's not gonna work, it's not gonna work, just say, Jesus, do you hear that? Do you hear that?
Yeah.
Get excited, because
That stock's coming back.
oh. All right, I got another one here.
Oh my gosh.
All right, let's kick it up.
Yeah, let's run. Okay, so we got this guy. He owns this is ironic, he owns a digital marketing company, mostly project work. So he'll build your website. He says he has a complimentary offering of SEO, meaning that it's not his focus. Not that's free. There's something that he'll add on if you want it, which I think is backwards, but anyway. And he says he hasn't been able to get any customers, and he wants advice from us on how he can get customers. He says, and he lists all the things he's tried. He said, gone are the days when email and cold calling worked.
Right.
Not indicating whether he ever tried it. I read that as he never tried it. He already sort of dismissed it.
Right.
He also says that his Google ads aren't working for him. It just creates spam. His social media ads are not converting. He's got a 0.001 take rate on his free offers. Now, he didn't show us his free offers, but his free offer is likely a free digital checkup, right? That we're gonna look at your website and tell you what's wrong with it. Which is basically saying, for free, we'll try to sell you something.
Yeah.
Not much of an offer. And then, but he says, how do people these days find customers? And second, related, another guy, he has an IT business. He started it up, and at one point was at $15,000 a month, almost all profit. And it has dwindled down to $4,000 or $5,000 a month. And he says it's because of the economy. And he says he can't get any customers. He has had to take a job, but before he went back to work, he went deep in debt because the $15,000 a month he was making anchored his lifestyle. He didn't adjust when his income fell to $5,000 a month.
Yep.
So he's got scars.
Yeah.
So in both cases, these are guys trying to sell to businesses and had at some point some success. Now, nothing. What do you say to him, Irving?
I mean, I always look at the example of like, if it's working for somebody else, why isn't it working for you? It's probably you.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what people typically use in that space, probably Google Ads work. I'd say cold calling works. Like, I don't know why it's not working for your situation for some reason.
Yeah.
Quality of the product.
So yeah.
Market he's reaching out to. His email list, his cold call list. Let's think about what's the cheapest and what's the most expensive options, right?
Yeah.
Most expensive, I'm gonna go hire sales guys.
Hire sales guys. Super Bowl commercial.
Yeah.
Super Bowl. I would like to buy 2 seconds of a Super Bowl commercial.
Great idea. Customers to the door. Super Bowl.
Least expensive, I'm gonna make phone calls myself.
Yeah.
Okay.
To local business owners.
Okay.
I'm gonna go knock on doors, local businesses.
Yeah. Door to door. He didn't mention
Door to door.
Yeah.
And that's where you have to start, right?
Yeah.
And then you find out if your product's any good.
Yeah.
A lot of customer feedback. I'd love to see the email campaigns work, right? But man, if you're not getting any click-throughs or any open mail, it's gonna be a long grind and a lot of finger pointing if you're not a sales guy.
Yeah.
And you just wanna rely on Google clicks and emails and your magic. I started a website.
Yeah.
How are they not just suddenly flooding in my door?
I have the best website.
Yeah, it's super pretty website. How come I don't have leads?
So sort of know your strengths, know your weaknesses.
That's good.
Yeah, and we don't know this guy's. So there's a lot of backstory.
Yeah.
You know, it could be all based on creative. But he does have a long list of stuff he's tried. So you got to think maybe this guy does it, right? So it's like, okay, this didn't work. Let me try this. This didn't work. Let me try that. You know what he did list? He said that he did two Insta posts on Reels every day for 4 weeks and got, I don't know, gosh, either 20 some or 200 some views on each one, but no leads. So he did 4 weeks.
Yeah.
So 56 videos on Reels. And which is about like spitting in the ocean and expecting a tsunami. Like, it's a
dropping a hook. Why didn't I catch a fish?
Yeah, why didn't I catch a whale? Yeah, I threw the hook right in the water where I thought the whales would be.
The whales are there.
All right, Nate, what do you say?
I think you gotta absolutely prove the concept when it comes to the guy who's trying to get the business really started.
Yeah.
And probably, like you said, do something for free. Find a business owner, friend, or somebody like that. Get them absolutely raving about the product and the results, and be able to share that with others and encourage them to share it with others that they know.
Okay.
To really kind of build the network and start not just counting on internet leads and faceless opportunity, but finding actual people before, so that you have a viable product that people can trust.
Okay. So you think there's a product problem?
Well, nobody knows about it.
Yeah.
Or nobody, there's a million ads out there about all these different kind of products. When it comes to a website for a business, people want to do that once and forget about it. So it's a hard sell in many ways to find the right people. Because if they've already got a website, unless they're trying to use it to get their own leads, they don't really care.
Yeah.
He's got to find people who are trying to build their business as well.
That's a good point. His customers were one and done. Whether your computer's broken, so you hire the guy to come in and fix it, or the guy with the website, hey, I need a website. You build it, you charge him, you're done with him. The fact that he says SEO, which is the ongoing service, is a complimentary service, clues you in maybe to a business model problem. So what do you think, Riley? What should this guy do? Tell his wife, hey, the $5,000 is straight.
$5,000 gone.
The $5,000 is gone, lady. But there's free divorce kits online.
The $50 if you call one of those boards. Side of the road.
Yard sign.
Yard signs.
Yard sign divorce lawyer.
Okay, it was too late. I spent the whole $5,000, baby. I will spend it all. We even got $50. You're stuck with me.
So what about that IT guy though? Would you?
Yeah.
Because we've been focused on the starting a business more so with the website.
Okay.
He hasn't made any money. But what about a guy that's proved it, to at least to some extent?
Both of these guys actually had success before they failed.
Okay.
And so there's two things you guys have just pointed out. So I think you're on the money, but Ryan. Riles, yeah, you got something to say?
Yeah, you're on the money. I mean, I agree with everything that's been said. I think
said that in
IT
law class too?
Yeah.
Professor, I just want
What
to
the guy
agree.
before me said, I agree with him.
The Supreme Court just kind of has the final say on these
What
things.
he said was a good point. I'm gonna piggyback on that.
In agreement.
I think IT and SEO and everything to do with the internet right now and AI is so big. If your business is failing, it's not a market problem. The amount of companies that need new, even if you have to expand into an AI, even us, we need something, or we're looking into AI, how it can help. There's tons of markets coming out with AI stuff. It's like, if you need more to your business in terms, I think it's easier to learn if you're in the computer industry. So it's pretty, I don't know.
So this guy has no excuse not to be cutting edge.
Yeah,
Okay.
In some way, it's advancing so rapidly. If you can, I assume as an IT guy or an SEO guy, you can learn these things more quickly than someone who has no idea what a computer does.
Yeah.
Or most marketplaces,
You know
small
one thing
business
AI
owner.
could do is it could have a little pop-up on your screen in a meeting when you weren't paying attention at all, and you have to come up with something to say.
Yeah.
It'll say, Riles,
It-
here's a point you could be making.
It's crazy what it can come up to make other businesses faster, and you can implement that into your business of, hey, I can use this to make your business faster, and you can expand what you have besides just SEO. And
Basically, his product has to be better.
yeah, his product can expand and be better.
Okay, so again, we're going back to product problem, not business model problem, because what if he just legitimately is a superstar? In both the case, the guy builds a beautiful website. I'm gonna assume that the guy actually does have some skills, because again, he had some success. He managed to talk somebody into buying something from him. And then the IT guy, I mean, you're not gonna get paid if you can't actually fix somebody's computer, right?
Yeah.
Like that, you bill them and then they pay you, but you gotta do the work before you bill them. So I'm gonna say that these guys are both savants. They, and maybe you're right. Maybe the product's bad, maybe the guy smells and they don't want him back in their store or whatever, but I just think, I think that if they have world-class products, their business models are still gonna force them to fail. And then
Fair.
but I do want to hear from Brian.
There you go, boss.
Okay, so yeah, he needs that AI that you're going to create at Riley.
No, I'm just saying I think it's an easy market he can shift into to diversify what he's selling to people. If he's out here saying all these things don't work, Google clicks don't work, Meta clicks don't work, all this stuff doesn't work, then it's clearly a product problem. If he didn't do well on his Google clicks and getting people to click on his ad, then that's a whole nother thing. But if you run a website and you have search options with SEO on it, hopefully you know how to do Google clicks.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming based on that, he knows his Google click stuff is good and he's gotten clicks and he knows this clicks doesn't work, then that deducts down to it's a product problem.
Okay.
Because if you call yourself an SEO person, then clearly or hopefully you're good with SEO.
I think what Rob's saying though is true though as well, because you can have the best product and still not have a business. It's not the best products that win in the market all the time. It's the people who find a way to give what the market's looking for at the highest quantity at a viable product. So like minimum viable product. It doesn't have to be the best product in the world, but you got to be able to give what the market's looking for. Looking for it.
Yeah, Hollywood has proven that you can really put out a crappy product and people will still buy it. Okay, so chiropractors have this problem, and that is that, you go to the chiropractor because your back hurts, and chiropractors are very skilled, they're very trained, it takes a long time to become a chiropractor. The fact is they probably will fix your back, and the moment they fix it, you fire them.
Yeah.
And if you have an IT problem and you hire an IT guy and you pay him $500 or $5,000 to fix it, and he fixes it, now you fire him. There's a business model problem here. These guys aren't selling recurring services, they're doing a one-shot deal.
And it's not high ticket.
And you can't, it's nearly impossible to keep getting that new customer.
Especially if there's the second compounding problem, and that is the one-man band does not work if you have to simultaneously be going to find a new customer while you're taking care of your last one.
Yeah.
And so imagine if you open a restaurant and you don't have a lot of money, so you're like, okay, I'm gonna be the waiter and I'm gonna be the chef. And the market, I'm gonna do it all. And the first
and the janitor.
Yeah. And the first customer comes in, you take his order, you go back in the kitchen, and while you're cooking it, you're wondering, why is nobody putting more orders in? Well, the dining room's full, you idiot, but you're in here cooking, there's hungry people all over. Yeah. Oh no, the economy's terrible. Yeah, no, your economy's terrible because you won't expand, right? And so you've got to have a continuous sales motion to have continuous flow of customers. And there's a last piece of this. This morning, Katie, we're leaving, and she says, Dad, can you call my phone? She's lost her phone. Now, that's one way, but everyone turns off their ringer at night, so I'm like, this isn't gonna work. To find your phone, what do? You go back to the last place you had it. And if these guys had some success at some point getting customers, and they want to find that success again, what do they have to do? Go back to where they found those customers. Do the stuff that worked at once, and they can get back to where they were before. And this time they'll do it better because instead of selling a one-shot deal, they'll say, hey, I will take care of your problem for free. You just need to sign this 12-month agreement with me to be your IT guy. And that way they have that recurring revenue coming in, which is really what they're trying to do is they're trying to run a 1995 IT business in 2025. And it doesn't work. Didn't work then. So they're just gonna keep starving. So they're trying to do too much with one person. They need a continual sales motion. They need a recurring revenue model. And again, I don't know if they might not be the greatest thing in the world, and what they're doing is the chiropractor thing, right? You call them when you need them. If you don't need them, you're gonna not pay them. And so they just go away. Yeah. And we know guys like that, right? Their business is built on break fix, or you don't think about the fire department unless you got a fire. And but those fire guys, they got to get paid every month. So
well, it's a perfect time to, as you're going in for the 500 of, hey, you can have this discount if I can be your IT guy anytime something breaks. This will be a $200 visit, but for $100 a month, I'll come fix it for anything. I'll come fix anything, and just build that relationship. This isn't the first time an IT problem is going to happen. I don't want you going, oh man, I had to spend $500. I'm not going to call that guy again. Or hey, I can help you with all your IT problems. So next time it happens, you don't have to worry about it.
You don't have to worry about it.
I'll be on it. I'll be here within the day or within the hour, instead of you having to take a whole day or 2 days for all your stuff to be down.
Yeah.
I'll give you this discount here. Just let me be your IT guy for the next 12 months.
Yep.
Build that relationship and give them something so they feel like, wow, he's, you know, giving me a discount.
Just give you a discount, and we'll give you another discount if you'll send a friend who signs up.
Yeah.
I'll give you a free month.
This is a perfect opportunity. If you are that one time, that is your one type business of I see this person once and then never see him again. Try and sell them some type of, hey, I can help this every time this happens.
So he's got to go back to where he last had success, sell it differently so it's a recurring revenue product. And then while he's doing that work, or really don't even do the work, have someone else do the work so that you can be working on finding your next customer. Because you can't be out of business as soon as you get done saying, hey, it's all finished, I'm gonna send you the invoice.
Yeah.
And then start from square one, figuring out where your next customer is gonna come from. So, but in both cases, by the way, you know my opinion, cold calling is still the way to generate leads, B2B. It doesn't work a lot of times because outbound leads are difficult to close. And so if the person's not sort of a natural salesperson, the only way to do B2B anymore is, in my opinion, again, people get leads all sorts of ways, right? But I think that outbound, you're gonna have to be a really personable, dynamic person to make those leads work. And so you might need to hire a salesman. If you're the IT genius and you're not that good at sales, you know, you might have sold your brother-in-law, you might have sold your neighbor, but you can't sell an outbound. And you know, we don't know who this guy is, right?
It takes a sales process to close outbound. It takes sales process, training, follow-up.
You know,
salesman.
Obviously we're in the lead gen business and we'll say, hey, what'd you do with those leads? And they'll say, well, I called them twice and they didn't pick up. And you're like, okay. Twice, like two.
What'd you do that 10 minutes after that?
And then you went back to do what you were doing, right?
Yeah. Yeah, not a good lead.
And then, the lead's bad.
That lead's bad.
Lead's horrible.
Uh,
I call him. He didn't pick up. I pick up when people call me. Like,
right.
that's the excuse.
Guys, if you would like to come running with us, solve some problems for people, message us. We would love to come where you are or do it by Zoom. But we'd love to come running in your part of the world. And we will bring our camera people with us and not our golf cart. You'll have to provide that. And we will go running with you and solve the world's business problems. Thanks a lot for watching, guys.
Hey guys, if you watch my content, you probably own a business and I would love to one-on-one with you. I'd love to talk with you about the things I always talk about. 3 things. What would have to be true to 10x your business? What can be done to make your business easier to run? And what can be done to reduce risk in your business? I'd love to talk about those things with you. If you want to just click, there's in the description below, there should be a link to a Calendly. You could set up a free one-on-one with me. Love to spend some time on the phone with you, just talking through your story. Maybe obviously my ulterior motive is to get you to come onto the podcast, but I don't mind if you don't want to get onto a podcast. I'd love to just have a one-on-one with you if I can give you some help. So if you're a Christian business owner, I mean, any size business, any type of business, I'd love to help you. So go ahead and click the link below, get onto a Calendly so you and I can have a talk. I'd love to help you if I can. I'd love your help with my business if you have some advice for me. So thanks so much for watching. Thank you for being a part of our community.
What's his next?
Is that Enzo?
Basketball, we played
Basketball.
the other day.
He's never played basketball in his life.
Never played it.
Yeah.
You want to go tomorrow?
Let's go. Exactly.
I'm in. I come in. I got such a great workout.
Such a great word.
Yeah.
It was. We were dead. Me, Patrick, and Enzo, and then some people from our neighborhood. Like,
Yeah.
Like 12.
Hey guys, all right, we running?
We're running.
Let's go.
I'm just following that golf cart.
That's right.
See.
I'll show you stuff.
What a governor. Oh, my goodness.
Like mouse.
Thank you.
Not yet.
So I'm answering now?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be tough.
No, you just got the microphone.
Is that what this is?
This you'd be good for TV interview. Am I gonna talk now?
Is this thing on?